what I decided to do, because I figured we would be over time as we are now. No way we could do an annual meeting in an hour, right? But I'm trying to keep it as short as possible so we can go do all the other things we have scheduled for today as a church. And so what I did was I wrote my annual report, and it'll be in this month's newsletter, which will be out relatively soon. And you can read the report there. And some of it we've already gone through here in the ministry area reports and the like. So I would just commend that to your reading. And I thought I would just flash a few of my favorite photos from the year here, ones you haven't seen already, and just tell you why I think we, Church of the Resurrection, are thriving this year. Starting with my COVID defiance, St. Stephen's Day was early in the pandemic, and he's being stoned by all those people who didn't like his sermon. I decided to throw in the coronavirus right in there as a stone, and that was my sort of pushback against the virus. And the whole idea that we would sit back and just let the virus fell us, in a way that we haven't let all the stuff we had to do to build the building and to make that happen and to stay alive as a congregation and to move all that. I'm determined to do my part, to not have the pandemic be the thing that drops us, right? And so I've been delighted to see you've all felt that way too, because you're there, you show up, you still consider us a community. And people say to me, oh, well, they blow it off. Oh, well, of course, Church of the Resurrection, can do this because they gave up the idea that they are their building, in the course of their project. Well, yeah, that's true. We did. And that is helping us. But I guarantee you, we would still be in the same place, even if we hadn't done that, because that's who we are. That's the spirit that got us here. And so I think, based on what's happened here this past year, that we're going to do this thing. And the only thing that's going to fell us, if you will, is dropping off in onesies and twosies, giving up and saying, oh, I'm really old, I can't X, Y, or Z. That doesn't sound like us. And so I have hope. And when I listen to my colleagues, they have many different problems than we have. They have problems like no one is showing up. No one's giving them money. They can't figure out how to worship. And their circumstances are very different. I think that had we not been here with these spacious lawns at the seminary, we'd be in a different situation. But you can look at our situation and point to how our project has positioned us to survive and even thrive in the pandemic, and then move back to our new church that's going up in an area that's going to explode in redevelopment, as you see some of the projects there. So that was my defiance at the virus. This was your defiance. And I love this photo. You're going to see it again and again, maybe, because on All Saints Sunday, when it started raining just as the service started outdoors, there you were. And people on campus who were walking by did double takes. And some of them even, you couldn't see them because they were behind you. And they stopped. People were walking their dogs in the rain or whatever, and they couldn't believe we were there. And we actually got one of our newest members, who not official member yet, but you just wait, because he drove around trying to find an outdoor worship service, and we were the only one he could find. So it wasn't somebody on campus; it was someone who was hunting for a worship service, and there we were. And I love this picture, because it shows our new acolyte. Yay! And it shows us in one of our early days out back before the grass turned into kind of a mud hole back there. And it turned out that, as most things in this past year, that happening, turning into a mud hole and having to go out front, was really good for us, because it made us more visible to the rest of the seminary. It's paying off in ways that are direct, and it's paying off in indirect ways, by people helping us out to do things we wouldn't normally be able to do. And this was our happy dance, on Trinity Sunday. I'm so excited by seeing the building slab and all, and the sort of the 2x4s going up. I threw the Holy Spirit there just to remind us, that we're getting help to make this thing happen. About I give a report every year about membership. And so we have roughly, I say roughly, it's hard to count really, 129 people. That's it total. But there's 129 people who are really with us. You know, a church I won't name counts thousands of members. I'm sure they do have thousands of members, but then you look at their average Sunday attendance and it's like 100. What? I say we have 129 people. We have 129 people. And this year, these are our newest members by confirmation and reception and the like when the bishop came. So, you know, Lillian Curley, Dorothy Pennant, who's on our vestry now, and Pam and Clem Chakra, they joined us officially that day. There's 4 new members. Okay. And I'm happy to report that Cynthia Ballard Perez, of course, joined us officially to be part of our vestry. So there's a membership by transfer. And then last night, Frank and Odie Swoboda, I received yesterday Frank and Odie Swoboda's membership transfer back to us.
Yay!
There's 2 more new members this year. Yay!
Yay! That was really good.
7. This is amazing. There are congregations who won't have any new members this year unless they got them between January and the middle of March. Okay. Now you add that, you have to say, okay, we got new members, but we lost members too. This always makes me sad, you know, in a way, but they got to go home. And so we will forever miss Tammy and Kate. And yet we look at what they left us by their presence. They left us their deep joy and their faithful commitment, both of them, to our congregation. So there you have it. And like you, Betsy, I'm getting a little teary-eyed saying that, you know. But, and this one gets me too, in a way. You heard Betsy say, you know, Mark and Mamila they're moving on Wednesday to Baltimore. I know they'll still be connected with us, and I know they'll still be tappable, you know, when we need advice and all that. But God gave them to us when we needed them the most, you know. And Mark, a net positive growth in membership, even in this pandemic year. And I'm going to count these 2 as with us always. And then, of course, we managed to do our outreach projects. Thank you, outreach folk. Lots of good work there, but I especially enjoyed the alt walk, you know, that got us moving and gave even more money to Alive, who's doing an amazing job providing food for everybody who's hungry in our city. And a sign for me that this project is going forward 95% or whatever your number is. I always average Kat's percentage in mine. So we're at somewhere between 95 and 100, right? And then the sign for me was when our cross came to our property. Yeah, and it's still there. It's bound up funny, so you can't, the top part of it is here, you know, and it attaches back on the top. But there it is over there on the property, just waiting for us to catch up with it. And that's a sign of hope to come. Here's another, we actually did the Alive walk when they copied us and got their act back in gear. And here's another sign of hope for us. Elta made this fabulous painting showing us a mirror of our community, you know, the magic tree of community. And I'm so delighted this is going to be in our narthex. And there are other artists among us, I'm thinking of Ken Gay here, who's been hard at work putting his artistry into action. And you're going to actually see it at Forum on December 20th when he shows us the frontals that he's made for our church and the banners that he's made for our church. So we will have banners. And then I had to get the little guy in because he buoys me up, you know. Normally I don't show you baby Jesus because normally I forget to find him. So not only did I find our baby Jesus and clean him up, I don't think he'd ever had a bath. He was actually turning white. That's how bad he was. And, you know, gave him some clothes so he didn't have to parade around naked, although he's prepared to take these off and enter swaddling clothes, you know, on Christmas Eve. And this is me saying to you, we are this close. We are living new life now, but we're this close, you know, to completing this project, this incredible, bodacious, big project that God gave us.
Believe it.
And I was so subtle today in my sermon, right? Not. about our need to figure out, not right away. We get to bask a little bit, I think, in our new place when and if we get to move back into it, be it in early April or physically move back into it whenever the vaccine's available. And yet our community thrives and lives on, and then it's not time to rest on our laurels. But I don't want to hear anybody else say to me, we're not going to be here in 5 years, because I think what we've proved this past year and the year before it, that God's got something in mind for us. So that's my report verbally. Do read the official report in the next issue of the newsletters, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Well, you guys are easy, or either that or my sound froze.